Hello everyone, we're over here in Mount Morris, Michigan with a good friend, Daryl Smith. I got to know him at a previous company I used to work for. He's a CNC service technician and he used to work on the equipment over there. And I've worked with a lot of CNC service techs. A lot of you guys probably don't know, you see me working on manual equipment, but I got quite a bit of experience. Probably the last 2/3 of my career has been on CNC machinery. And so as the equipment would break, we would have to have technicians come in and do the repair and stuff like that. And so I've seen a lot of people in my career, but I've never seen anybody that was as good as this guy right here. This guy's a legend in this area. He's really good.
Here you go.
I seen him.
Pay you for that.
I seen him take and diagnose some troubles with CNC machine. Well, one of the last ones I used, we had probably 6 technicians coming in there from the company of the machine. I won't even go into the details what that was, but it was a CNC lathe, but as far as the make. And some of the people they hired to come in, and they couldn't fix this machine. We spent thousands and thousands of dollars trying to get this fixed, and Daryl came in, and I think it's less than a half hour he had it figured out. Sad thing with that, we got it figured out, and Daryl gave a quick Band-Aid fix on it, and that worked good enough, and the company decided to leave it like that, and so they spent all that money to figure out what was wrong with the machine. Well, it took just a little bit more to make it perfect, but that's how good he is. He got good enough that they just let it go at that. So anyhow, Daryl is retired right now, semi-retired.
Semi-retired.
And last time I talked to him on the phone, he said he's actually busier now than he was when he was full-time, but that's, I guess, a good thing too. So we're at his place, and he's got a little pole barn out here, and he's got a lot of equipment that he's going. He loves scraping, and I'm going to turn everything over to him, and he's going to kind of give us a tour of the shop and show us some of his passions, and we'll go from there.
Well, I do some work here. Like this is a turret I'm rebuilding, and for a customer, I'll rebuild turrets, live tooling, anything. Then someone calls up and says, I got this, have you ever worked on it? And I tell them the truth, no, but I'll fix it. So, you know, I stay busy. I'm training my grandson, he's 20, and he helps me, Nicholas, and I've taught him how to run any machine in here, lathes, surface grinders, the mill, piece of junk mill. And, you know, he knows how to scrape and how to weld, and so, but that's my thing, is teaching. I love teaching other people, you know, and yeah, Steve said not to say this, but I teach scraping for free, just because I love scraping. I scrape every day if I'm not working, and if I'm working, I come home after working 10 hours, and I come back out here and scrape. So I do stay busy scraping. Sometimes I'll scrape 8, 10 hours, 12 hours. You know, my wife will say, hey, it's 1 o'clock in the morning, you coming in? So time gets away. But anyways, this is a block that I scraped that I'm kind of proud of. This is, you can put this block any position, and it's going to be square. This, if you put it like over this way, square, square, square. This is square, this is square. I scraped that on a sign plate, the true 45, both of them, and then I blued up a perfect 90-degree reference and spotted this, and so that block is, I've got a ridiculous amount of time in that block right there, but it's you know, priceless to me, you know. But anyways, this is a Bridgeport head I'm rebuilding for another customer, and like I said, I'll fix anything, you know. But all this cast iron you see around here, some of this is cast iron. I just buy it to scrape on. And all of these different pieces, you know. I like the more unique stuff to scrape on. Sometimes I'll hand scrape, but most of the time I'm using a Biax power scraper. And I did take one of Rich King's classes, so I got so old that hand scraping would just really wore me out, you know. And so I bought a power scraper, and I didn't know how to use it, so I did take one of his classes, and you know, it really changed how fast I can scrape something. So, but anyways, that's a 4x8 Granite over there, and it's mainly just the table where I got too much stuff. So sometimes I use that one. I got that from the McDonald twins, Cam and Andrew McDonald up in Mile, and good guys. They unloaded that off of a flat car hauler trailer, and we unloaded that with pallet jacks, 2 pallet jacks, one on each end. But really good guys, and so the price was right. So I got a big Granite. This is on loaner. This is Will Cunningham's Granite right here. And this is a phenomenal Granite. This is what I usually blew up and check stuff on. But anyways, and I got a gantry here to do my heavy lifting anymore. What else?
Don't tell them the main reason we're here too.
Oh, the reason we're here. The reason we're here is because Steve made me one of his squaring blocks. This thing, I mean, I one of these days I hope I'll be able to grind this nice. The finish on this is just, you know, I almost don't want to ever use it. But I will be, you know. I'm not a machinist. I'm a machine repair, but I get by. I've got 2 lathes and an old piece of junk knee mill and 2 surface grinders, and so I'm still learning. You know, I'll always be learning, but I can't grind like that. So Steve's gonna teach me how though.
Yep, what are you gonna do?
How to dress a wheel and the right wheels to get, and I've got quite a variety of wheels, but my it's got to be the machine. It's not me. No. But anyways, so.
Yeah, you can see you got a couple big turntables over there, a smaller one, and that's a pretty good size one too.
Yeah, I got a 16-inch there. That's for sale. Cheap. $200.
Are you serious?
Serious? Yeah, that big
Tell you
turntable.
what, if you
That's
guys
a
are
Cincinnati.
interested, let 'em know.
Cincinnati rotary. The other one's a brand new.
Yeah, that thing's
Taiwanese.
huge. And you're talking
It's
the
an
bottom
import.
one at 200.
The bottom one. Yeah, the bottom one.
Yeah, the
That's
big
a
one.
Cincinnati.
Yeah, that's a nice looking one too. So,
So
yeah, if
anyways,
you got anything for sale, you shout it out on there.
Oh,
I'm sure these guys will
I,
get it.
there's a few people see my Craigslist ads.
Okay.
I've got a lot of Craigslist ads when I buy cast iron just to scrape, and once it's scraped, it's no more use to me, so I sell it. So I just buy it to scrape because I love scraping. I just started on this block. It's probably got 4 passes is all, but you know.
Well, tell them that you Craigslist a little bit. You sell a lot of this stuff
Oh,
on
yeah.
Craigslist.
Yeah.
So how can they find you on Craigslist?
Craigslist?
Is there a way? I'm
Flint
not familiar.
Craigslist. No, just Flint Craigslist tools.
Okay.
If you put the word scraping in your search, you'll probably find me, and I always have a link for other ads. So
Well, tell them the story you just told us about Brian Block.
Brian
when he called you.
Block.
Oh, this is good.
Brian Block called me to buy some stuff. I can't remember what it was. Oh, he bought a great big 24 by 24, I think, granite square. But anyways, he calls up and he says, he just when he said hello, hello, I'm down in Kentucky, and I'm like, you're Brian Block. He's going, what? I'm going, yeah. I said, I just from watching your YouTube videos, I recognize your voice right off. You didn't even have to say anything where you were. I knew who you were when you said hello. But anyways, he's a good guy. But I do watch videos. I've never had a YouTube video, but so
It's your first one.
First one, you know, but anyways, yeah, Brian's, he's a good guy.
So you got this machine, but it's not hooked up, right?
That one's not hooked up yet. I actually put Turkite, new Turkite on a Daewoo or a Doosan lathe for that, you know, and scraped it in, and that was like a trade-off for one of my customers up in Frankenmuth. So, and my ground finally got hard enough to get it in here. Of course, you couldn't right now. I got a mess out here right now. That's I got the phase converter and everything to hook it up and all the wires. A buddy of mine named Nick, I worked on his Herco for the cable and stuff, all the bus drops and stuff, but you know, my hands aren't electrician hands, these are mechanics hands, so I'll get around to hooking it up soon. I just got all that stuff to do it, so.
Okay.
And this is what I sharpen my my Carbide Blades on. I sharpen my Carbide. I make one pass and then flip the corner on it. And so I sharpen my Carbide over here. So this is a Biax 7 ELM. So I sharpen. This is a 130M Biax adapter, and so I just use these Sandvik blades, and I make one pass, flip the corner. I sharpen them 40 radius and a 60 radius, and but that's all I use. I don't use anything but these ones right here, and this here is a flaker. I don't do much flaking.
Were we recording when he's talking about the stones and using them for scraping?
Oh,
okay.
You got that? Yeah.
Okay. When he talked about at first he's skeptical until he used them.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Steve told me, he said, "Do you have stones?" You know, and I'm like, "Yeah, I got a lot of stones." You know, and he goes, "Well, these things are diamond precision grounded diamond, you know, with a diamond wheel." And I'm thinking, yeah, whatever, you know, stone's a stone. But I can't live without these now. I mean, I dropped the ones he gave me, so I ground up my own set. But that they just really made a difference. You know, I especially spit finishing. If you're doing 40 points per square inch, you know, that really smooths them out. You know, I like those stones.
Yeah, well, one of Robin Renzini's videos, where originally I got the, you know, where he's sharing on these stones, that's where I got these from. But he mentioned how they work good for scraping, and so I texted Daryl one time and told him he ought to try it on some of his scraping, and he was mentioning at first you just kind of...
I was skeptical.
You know, and now you've used it, now you see the value on that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So just another big thanks for Robin Renzini for just not even just sharing the video on that, but for all the different uses that you have. I don't do any scraping. Someday I wish to. But the stones, my set, usually the main use is on the magnet on the surface grinder, keeping that good. I went from truing the grinder magnet up to probably from about 3 or 4 times a year down to about 1 time a year, and the results is because of them stones. If you use them proper, they work great. For me, they're worth their weight in gold, and it sounds like the same's true with Daryl there too. So you got a repeatometer here.
Repeatometer for I've been lapping in. YouTube's so cool because, you know, one of Robin's videos he was lapping in a granite plate, and so, you know, I lap all my granites in, and I do that for other people too. And so I got a planicator down here. This is Nick's. It's we kind of pass it around, but that's a Ron planicator, and it uses a Mars Supremus indicator, and so I don't have a Autocollimator. I use that to check the granites after I get it, but this is a repeatometer to check just the low spots, but it uses a supermess indicator too. So, but you know, just learning how to do all this stuff on YouTube, just watching YouTube videos is pretty cool. And this is just more angle plates and cylinder squares and levels, and you know.
Yeah. And he was showing me he's got his Suburban Master grind over here, and you just recently picked up the base plate,
Yeah,
right?
I just got the base plate, and I need to. They say you got to send it back to Suburban, but I've been doing this for 30 years, lining up spindles and tail stocks on, you know, CNC equipment. So I think I can
Do it.
I think I can do it. I got all the equipment to do it. That's a 5C test bar, you know. So,
Yeah.
but my grind might not be quite what Suburban can do, but you know, I'm just grinding up. I think there's a plate on the bottom that you have to fit, you know, that the actual head goes on. So.
Yeah, and he's got quite the collection of round squares over here as well.
Cylinder squares. I've got a cylinder square fetish. These are gauge blocks. Kind of a unique set. This is a Hermit Feedlot for an angle plate.
Yeah, well, they're getting some of the best out there.
And this is a Hermit Weiss.
There you go.
Hermit Schmidt's good stuff.
Now, where do you come across all this stuff? Is it a lot of times
it's a
you're
secret. I
trading
can't
labor?
give away my secrets.
Yeah, well, that's fine. Well, was it a lot of it on trade? Is it
Trade,
for
you know,
work on
I do a
equipment?
lot of trading with stuff I scrape in. You know, like I
Okay.
said, you know, when I scrape something in, there's a guy in Waterford that I do a lot of trading with, you know, and that's where I got both of them from him. These are more gauge blocks that I use. This is a Brown and Sharp set, and this is one I got out of my car. I had to unload my car because I totaled it last week. So some of the stuff in
Did
here.
you get hurt?
No, I didn't get hurt, but just you just slow down.
Yeah.
These are my Camel Backs for scraping in Bridgeports and stuff. This one is one I just used to rebuild a Bridgeport for a friend of mine down in Fenton, Linden. But that's what I use to do the dovetails.
And I think A-Bomb and Keith Rucker, I think they got some video series on those out that they're actually scraping them in. And
Yeah,
so there's some nice videos out there on those as well from others.
these are dovetails and straight edges for doing lathes also, doing the cross slides, and you could use them on Bridgeports too. So.
We got to talk about that a little bit.
This is I replaced a ball screw in a Haas VF2 for this guy, and it's a variable speed. I use this to grind my labyrinths when I'm rebuilding spindles. Just put it up on my surface grinder, and you know, it really does a unbelievable job to fit the labyrinth on a Kuma spindle. It's preloaded. The labyrinth actually is what the inner race goes to, and it's a tapered bearing. So the farther down it goes, the tighter it gets on the outer race. So it's really critical that you grind the labyrinth to fit the bearings, and this is why I got this. But you know, I don't use it that often, but it sure, the tolerance on a labyrinth is +0, -0.2. So you know, it's pretty critical that you get them to size. You know, you use gauge blocks to measure it, and then you got to grind them true.
So basically, you just set that on your surface grinder. You got a variable speed motor, and
Yeah.
then, so you're actually doing a spin grind.
Yep, that's what it is. And this is actually a sine table too. So you
okay.
could, you know, I've got it set so whereas, you know, I set it on a granite surface plate to get it flat, but you could actually, it's a sine plate too.
Okay.
And I didn't clean my machines up too good, but this is a really good lathe. This is 220 single phase quasi, and it's a 4903. But it's you know, I can stick something this long in here and it'll be within 5/10 the whole length of it. That the ways on this machine, it doesn't have variable speed. You gotta flip the belt, you know, but you know, it's really a good little lathe. And this one behind me, it's not so good, but it's a beast. It's got variable speed, and it's it can the through hole bigger, and I can abuse it, you know. I roughed a piece in, the same piece that was within 5/10 over here was 6 thou on that one. So the ways were pretty rough on that one there. And the ways, there's not much you can do with the bed. You know, you have to send it out and get it ground. You know, people do try and scrape them, but you know, it's good enough for what I do, you know. So, and that thing was a basket case. I did scrape the cross slide on the saddle on that one, but the ways are so bad that it is what it is. You know, I can still. I'm not a machinist anyway, so if I hold a thou, I'm good with that. So
That's pretty good yet too. On
yeah. And this is my old Taiwan Grizzly. This is it gets me by, you know. I just hack stuff on it. I don't, you know. These blocks here are square. These are two of the best blocks I got from the guy in Waterford.
And you got 4 of those, right?
I got 4 of them, and these things are matched. All 4 blocks. They didn't even deviate a tenth with the 10th indicator. Any way you put them, they're perfect square. You know, so I use these a lot. I use this for actually bluing these up to do my V blocks, and you know, I got it down on the table. I can just put anything on that, and I know I don't have to worry about it. It's keyed in, and it's really good blocks, hard. You know, it's I don't know if they're as good as Steve's, but you know, that's going to be my new that block over there is going to be my prized possession. But anyways,
Get this.
this is a arbor press, and this here is for sale. This is I scraped this in for a guy, the twins up in Mile, Cam and Andrew McDonald. They reconditioned this, and they asked me if I'd scrape it for them. So, you know, it didn't take long at all. I told them I'd scrape it for free, but anyways, this is on Craigslist. It's for sale. It's really a good brand, RSK. It's made in Japan, and it's Riken. It says Nagata Riken, but Riken, RSK is really, I had a level that I sold to Lucky 7 on Practical Machinist, and it was a RSK level, and it was one of the best levels I've ever had in my life. But I did get rid of it. But this is a nice set of bench centers, and they took every piece off and polished them, and you know, it was an honor to scrape it.
So what are you asking for that?
I think they want $600 for it, you know. So that's pretty much it. This is a saw that I don't have hooked up yet.
Well, let's show
Looking
this
for an
thing.
electrician.
Yeah.
No.
Let's show them your spin fixture here.
Oh, spin
This is
fixture.
the biggest one I've seen.
This is a homemade job, a shop made, and really I haven't used it yet, but it's need to get a V block. My V blocks are either too big or too small. This is going to take kind of like the middle of the road. But
I'm thinking you can mount a lathe chuck
that's
on
heavy.
there, throw on the mill.
That's a heavy guy right
Yeah.
there. So anyways, that's about it.
Okay.
This is a bearing heater for rebuilding spindles.
Oh, okay.
It's an induction heater.
How hot does it get?
It gets hot enough you don't want you gotta, it'll get so hot that you can't hold on to the bearing, so you gotta be careful. And so you just put a bearing on here, turn it on, and you know, it's 30 seconds. It's probably 120 degrees, you know, just right for putting on a spindle shaft. So
That evapor rust over there?
that's sort of like evapor rust. That's
Okay.
that's That's WD-40 rust remover soap.
Okay.
It's WD-40's answer to Evapor
Okay,
Rust.
so it's close.
But I use it.
Yeah.
Really works good. So, I don't know. That's about it.
Yeah,
So-
well, we appreciate you giving us a tour of the shop, and like I say, there's a couple things that is for sale there, and you can always check them out on Craigslist. We'll try to put links in the description area down at the bottom, so just kind of put it and bookmark it and go there from time to time. I'm sure you add stuff to it quite often. So,
Yeah, I do.
So, but anyhow, this is my good friend Daryl. We drove
It's my
up
good
here.
friend Steve.
Yeah, yeah. When I first met him, and he's telling me his name, Daryl, and he says I'm the other brother, Daryl.
That's
And-
what I go by.
and,
Other brother.
Yeah, so
So-
that's kind of funny because that was Bob Newhart, right?
Yep.
And so it's hard to forget his name, you know,
Yeah.
and there because every time I think of him, that's what I think of anymore. You know, I think my other brother, Daryl.
That's what I go by on Practical Machinist, other brother. So.
Okay.
Anyways.
So, but anyways, we're up here to visit for a while, and we thought we'd give you a tour of the shop and let you see what he's been doing.
My
and,
dirty shop.
You know, it's sad. Well, when it's like this, and then you know it's being used. If
Yeah,
it's
it's
too
being
clean,
used.
then it's probably not being used.
Yeah.
But again, machine building. How far do you travel when you repair machines? Not machine building.
I used to travel a long ways, but mostly just local people. You know.
Okay.
I mean, I got to go up to Marysville tomorrow, and then up to Boyne City Monday and Tuesday, and then Oscoda Wednesday and Thursday. So.
Do you
Oh,
ever
no,
travel outside
yeah.
the state?
No, not really. Not
Okay.
anymore. I mean, I would, but you know, pretty much local. You know.
Okay.
I work too
So-
much as it is. My wife says I don't work enough. But
There you go.
yeah,
So-
she says, "Oh, you're just out there playing."
Yeah, yeah.
I enjoy it.
Yeah, and like I say, he's one of the best technicians I've ever seen on CNC.
Thanks, Steve.
And when he talks about not being a machinist, I've watched him work on a lot of machines, and he uses his indicators, measuring tools. He uses them more precision than a lot of the tool makers we had in the tool room. So he does understand precision. He understands squareness. He understands what all that's important. And a lot of technicians don't know that. And I think this is what makes him a lot better than most that you're going to find. But I can guarantee you, now you mentioned the McDonald twins and some of the other people, and I'm sure that we got a lot of people in Michigan that's probably worked with Daryl before. You can testify how good this guy really is. So anyhow, it's just been a pleasure getting to know you, and this is the first time I've been here, so I was really looking forward to coming and seeing your shop too. So I just thank you that you will let our viewers come in and see what you're all about and what you do, and so we really appreciate that.
All right. Thanks.
Yep. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next time.